we need to find a blend, a mixture of skills stacked upon each other and align this to industry, and which this can really be achieved if we invest in projects for net skills development. Because if we're able to do that, we can then create a skills pipeline for market absorption, and then we will be in a better position to really narrow the gap. And then this also involves equipping workers with the good foundational AI skills, and creating that culture of lifelong learning across organizations, because the skills evolve. So.
Right. So talk to us about the core functions of AI in the modern world.
So at its core, AI is really not just AI alone, but even technology. But it's really about solving problems. It's about solving human problems, especially inefficiency problems. So with AI, the adoption of AI, we are trying to improve efficiency, which then also provides clarity to help us make better decisions. We must always remember that AI is a tool. It's a tool that humans develop in order to make our life much more easier. And there's a plethora of industries where we can apply AI, but it is really centered around solving skills. And there's a lot of repetitive work, such as data entry and document processing. Now, those two aspects are very important. If you look at something, let's say the government institutions, you have tasks and functions that can essentially take a minute to complete, something like retrieving data. But because especially our government is very paper heavy, the person has to go look through a long stacks of paper and take an hour to just get to you instead of just 1 minute. So it really helps us create that efficiency within processes, and the whole data component of AI, that if we use it correctly and more deliberately, we can use it to recognize trends in the market. And I think one area that is very critical is just determining risk. There's a lot of risks inherent in business, and if we can apply AI in those instances, those are areas where we can really help and solve more problems.
Right. So, Ndeo, how can employees' confidence be developed so that they can be able to engage with AI-powered systems, understand the data output, and also make decisions that using this technology?
Okay, so I think that starts really with having certain policies in place in the workplace, because some employees look at AI as this complex field. Yes, there's a lot of complexities attached to AI, but it can also be approached in a very simplistic manner. So if we take it from a workplace perspective, we can actually introduce introductory programs to AI, training and mentorship programs, but more importantly, awareness. Just simple awareness to highlight the real value that AI can deliver. And if we can, from the workplace perspective, if we can create an environment where employees can actually play around with this type of technologies, with these various AI tools, just so that they can explore areas in how AI can actually augment them. Because it's very important to also make employees understand that AI is there to augment what they already do, not to replace them, because that's always a very inherent fear in everybody, that AI is here to take our jobs. And in some instances, that can actually be the case. But I think one very important, just having introductory programs and just those awareness programs within the workplace, so that the employees can already engage with technology. That can really help in boosting employee confidence, and then it can also help them come up with their own ideas of how they can use AI.
So, would you say that Namibia's educational institutions have the capacity to help Namibians, to fit nicely into AI and to use AI in their jobs?
Yes and no. Yes, in the the instance that if you look at the, let's say, the tertiary institutions, they have their capacity. No, in the sense that if you look at the broader education sector from a national perspective, the capacity is not yet there. And I think it all comes to the will. If the will is there, if the proper leadership is in place, we can do that. But when you look at this, our education system is it's lacking in many areas, and that is the truth on the ground. If you look at the rural setups, for example, they are not ready. They are just they are absolutely not ready to adopt AI technology. I mean, if you look at some of this infrastructure, there's so much lacking. But in order for us to be able to do that, and I think as a matter of national culture, all aspects of society must be prepared to really upskill themselves and just to approach skilling as a continuous process. And the education institutions have a very important part to play in this. But at this point, there's a lot of capacity lacking. There is so much that we still need to do, a lot of leadership and guiding that is needed.
Well, do you think that it will be sustainable if these initiatives, I mean, if companies, training providers, and education institutions work together?
Definitely. Look, there's great power in unity, but what that requires, that unity needs to be structured. So, in order for it to work and for it to be sustainable, we need to create a digital ecosystem. We need to create an ecosystem where different role players are plugged into, and then going back to that skills pipeline that I was talking about. Everything needs to be structured. There needs to be AI governance structures in place as well. We need to have a national understanding of what AI is, how it works, what it is, and the various values that it can provide to us. But it is sustainable only if there is a deliberate effort for us to make it sustainable. It requires really a lot of structure as AI itself as well.
So at this juncture, who should be the first to, take the step? I mean, there are those, of course, the employees are thinking that AI is there to take their jobs. Perhaps employers are not, hands-on, or who should take the first step?
I think it's really everybody's responsibility. So if we take employees, for example, as an individual, you should always have that individual responsibility to upskill yourself so that you can do your job better. But from an institutional perspective, from an employer perspective, let's say private companies, they need to also have the right policies in place, create the right environment, and if from a government perspective, we need to be able to institutionalize some of like AI adoption, and because the government at the end of the day represents that glue that brings society together. So government as well also needs to do its part in creating the proper governance and the proper structures for the society as a whole to work together. So it's not a one department responsibility or one person responsibility. It's a shared responsibility, because the way the world is going, everybody's going to be affected, whether you are employed or unemployed, whether you're in the private sector or in the public sector. So it's really everybody's collective responsibility. It's just a matter of now structuring it from, let's say, governmental as well as employer levels.